Welcome to Website Investing, the fast and sure way to internet profits. And if you stick with us on this webinar, you'll soon see just how fast and how sure those profits can be. Thank you very much for giving us some time on this webinar this evening, and we're going to honor that investment on your part by giving you some great material about website investing along the way. So let's get with it. When I'm asked, so what do you do? I just tell them, I'm a website investor. I buy and operate income-producing websites for passive profits. I say that because that's what I do, and that's what I'm going to explain to you on today's call. In this webinar, if you stick with us to the end, you're going to hear why buying websites consistently beats other money-making strategies in profitability, consistency, and in terms of the amount of knowledge that's required to get into this. You're going to understand how you can make a living off the daily profits of passive income websites and the difference between flipping and investing, and why, in my opinion, investing is definitely the way you want to go. We're also going to cover many quick hit improvement ideas for increasing website revenue very quickly, and all of the key steps required to become a profit website owner. So I hope this is what you've come to hear. If that's the case, just key it in there and we'll get with it. Alright, today I own approximately 300 income producing websites. I've written the upcoming book, Buy, Don't Build, the fast track to website income, and I earn a very comfortable living from the passive income of all of the websites that I hold today. So not so long ago, however, this is a picture of my family, 4 great kids. One of them has Angelman syndrome, and my beautiful wife. And we had been in the corporate environment for some time, and we decided that moving and doing something else with our life that has just a different way of gratification. Not that work in corporate America can't be gratifying, but we were looking for something a little bit deeper, and we moved overseas where we worked with students and small businesses and families and did our best to be a blessing to them. For 7 years, we learned a crazy language that's part Turkish, Russian, Farsi, and a little bit of Arabic thrown in there. And we ministered to a lot of people during that time, but our kids grew up and it was time to move back to the United States. 2 of them were headed to college. And so we found ourselves in this situation. We were stuck. No job, no good stuff on the resume, at least for the previous 7 years. Big family, 2 going to college, and quite frankly, going back to the corporate world did not seem appealing to me. So you may be in this situation, you may have been in this situation, you may be in the corporate world and just want to get out of it. That's where I was, and this is what I did. I bought websites. I started buying websites that already had traffic, and from a website perspective, traffic means customers. I bought sites that already had a monthly income. I had no monthly income. I could not afford to start blogging about some random topic that I was quote-unquote passionate about, and then hoping that one day in the coming years there might be some money from my blog. No, I had to find businesses that already generated consistent monthly income, because that's what I needed right then, was income to pay my bills, to rebuild my life in the United States. I bought sites that were already designed to populate it. I had no time to start writing articles, taking pictures, and uploading content to websites. I wanted sites that had a proven working business model. I needed something that actually worked and not just some method or idea that somebody had and was selling. So that's what I did. And guess what? It worked out. I started making money in many different ways. This is from content websites. I had a lot of AdSense accounts over time that delivered earnings. And not just that, but service type websites, leads type websites, some e-commerce, some software sites that generated income in different ways. For example, Amazon, and this is not Amazon.com, that's .de, Germany, and France. Okay? And so it all worked out. And the future is bright. That's kind of the point of my message here, is I had a big problem. That was, I needed income, I needed it really quickly, and I turned to investing in websites. It wasn't all easy. These amounts don't just show up without some failures along the way. I learned that certain kind of websites, for certain reasons and certain situations, you never ever want to buy, or you'll get burned. And I got burned, but now I've learned about that, and I don't make those kind of mistakes as much anymore. So I'm in a good position now. I've got an income that's coming in that's taking care of my family, and it gives me a lot of extra time. That's how I was able to write a book and create a course and start teaching other people how to do this, because my investments deliver passive income and give me the flexibility to do the kinds of things that I want to do. And more importantly, possibly than both just having a comfortable lifestyle and flexibility, is the prospects for the future are great in this kind of business. It can only get better. And that's what I want to teach you about today. Alright, so why do websites outperform other investments? Well, as compared to traditional businesses, the answer is really clear. Traditional businesses require assets. Websites, in general, unless you get some website that has some inventory component, don't have a lot of physical assets. So starting up a website is really cheap. For the same reasons, operating a website is also cheap. They don't have facilities, they have more availability of low-cost labor because it's not geographically dependent, they don't have cost of goods sold. So as a result, you can start a website more cheaply and more quickly than you can a traditional business. And also as a result, the earnings, the bottom line earnings, are much higher on website investments than traditional businesses in general. Okay? This site, as an example, has a 95% annual return. There's nothing really fancy about this website. It's a content website. It has good articles about health topics, anatomy, and so on. And people come to this site every day, they read our articles, and they click on ads. And when they click on ads, we get paid. So it's very passive, and we earn our money back in less than a year on this site and continue to earn those kinds of returns on this site. So if you're listening to this webinar, seriously, I'm quite sure that you have this question in your mind: are website investments risky? And I hope you have that question in mind, because it's a good one. So to answer that, we need to compare it to other things. First, we'll compare it to traditional businesses. Traditional businesses, as you know, cost a whole lot more to buy for less return on investment as a percentage. Okay, if you buy a franchise, a popular fast food franchise or other kinds of franchises, you're easily talking hundreds of thousands of dollars of investment, and you're not talking hundreds of thousands of dollars of return every year. They're harder to acquire. The process to get into an existing business is much more difficult and lengthy. You put more capital at risk because the price of the business is much higher than the website price. And a very high percentage of small businesses fail. You've heard statistics like this, like 1 out of 5 small businesses fail. So are websites more risky than traditional businesses? No way. When you stack it all up, there's no way that a website business is more risky than a traditional business. Now, if we compare it to financial instrument investing, then it's a little bit broader of a question, because there are a lot of financial instruments that have very, very little risk, limited or no risk, but those same instruments also have very low returns. So if we compare to high return financial investments, actually websites look quite favorable. As you know, stocks and bonds and other kinds of financial investments can lose value very quickly. Their direction is difficult to predict. Even experts who are trading all the time don't consistently know the direction of a particular investment, so they use other complex strategies to protect their capital. And of course, if you're in that market, you are competing with experts. Make no mistake about that. So are website investments more risky than other kinds of investments? Well, as I said earlier, it depends, but generally when you're comparing similar return type investments, websites look pretty darn good. What we need to look at very seriously is the comparison between buying a website versus building your own, because that's another thing that immediately jumps to sophisticated minds. Why don't I just build my own and avoid the investment costs of buying one up front? Well, let's take a look at building a website. Obviously, there's the time to create it. There's the time to populate it, meaning creation of content, not just the design and the frame of the thing, but the content that you'll put into it, articles, photographs, product descriptions, product images, all of those kinds of things depending on the kind of site that you're talking about. It also takes a lot of time for traffic to begin to accumulate for a site. Marketing time, search engine optimization time, all of that means that a website doesn't have sales and traffic very early on. All of that takes time to build up. There's a risk, of course, that even if you get traffic, that those visitors will not buy anything, so that you might not actually have any income. And there is knowledge required. Anytime you build something from scratch, you have to know something about each of the components that you're building, whether that's design, marketing, the technical aspects of the website itself, or even just about the expertise related to the content of the website. One advantage, of course, is that you can build exactly what you want. You can build it the way you want it to look if you start from scratch, within reason. So when we look at that compared to buying a website, obviously if you buy something, you can start very fast because the website already exists. You have traffic from day one provided by a website that already has traffic, and sales from day one with the same proviso. If the website you buy is already producing a monthly income, then you will have that income as soon as your name gets on the business and you've transferred the accounts. When you buy something, it's a proven business. It means that there are people coming, they're spending their money, and the business model works. Now there is a risk, of course, that something might change. People might stop coming to your site, they might stop buying from your site, but of course that risk exists if you had built the business yourself, the website yourself. And you can modify sites to your liking, perhaps not with the flexibility as building what you want from scratch. But overall, I will buy a website versus building one for a reasonable price every single time. It's a fantastic trade-off, and those of you who are thinking about entering into an internet online marketing or kind of a online business strategy of some kind for the very first time, you really need to seriously consider buying in, because you can spend a lot of time, a lot of money putting something together from scratch that might never turn out to be a viable business. All right, now let's compare it also to other internet marketing methods, because every single day there are offers for ideas and new systems and methods for making money online. And what I wanted to explain to you is that those are just that. A system is a method. It's not a business model until it's actually implemented. And in fact, even after it's implemented, it isn't actually a business until it starts producing income. That's when we know it's viable and it's a working business model. And so the vast majority of systems and methods that are being sold today are not actually viable methods. They're just good ideas, and perhaps someone has implemented them successfully and perhaps they haven't. You won't know that until you actually try. So in fact, implementing a system, no matter what it is, whether it's Facebook ads to affiliate products, whether it's some kind of an e-commerce scheme to drive traffic to buy Amazon products or whatever it is, those things are just methods until they're turned on. And the ones that actually work, that have been around a little while, you'll actually find those methods implemented in a website out there somewhere, and oftentimes those same websites are for sale. So you'd be better off, rather than buying a system, to buy a website that's implementing a working system. Alright, so what does a website investor actually do? Well, you guys know this just intuitively. If you've ever bought anything of value like real estate or even a mobile phone or a car or something like that, there's a search process where you try to find what you're looking to buy, and then a buy process where you negotiate, determine a value, and make the transaction happen. And then in the case of website investor, we always try to improve our investment very, very early on. That's one reason we typically buy an investment, is because we see some opportunities where we can quickly improve the profitability of the website. So we do that, and then we operate it. That's the goal of a passive income website, is that it's passive, that it doesn't take a lot of activity. So let's compare that to what a flipper does. Now, a flipper does many of the same things. They search for opportunities, they buy, they improve, and then they sell. Okay, then they start over. They search, buy, improve, sell, search, buy, improve, sell. So you get the idea that a flipper really needs to enjoy that whole process of search, buying, improving, and selling, okay, because that's what they're doing. That's their career. Their job is just doing that repeatedly, and they're dependent on the difference of their buy price and their sell price each time. So each month they're betting that they'll be able to get a profit. They'll improve a website purchase, and they'll be able to sell it for more very soon. They're not buying and holding. Now, I buy and hold, and that's the sweet spot for me, is that as I have these websites, they accumulate, and I have free time because I don't typically buy websites that require a lot of activity. So that's the difference between the investor and the flipper. Now, there are times when a website investor sells. For sure, there are a lot of situations, and I'll talk more about those, to my students in my course. And we want to be good at selling as well, but we don't buy with the intent to sell at the beginning typically. All right, so what do you believe differentiates a great investor from an okay investor? What's the difference in your opinion? Just type that into the chat window right now. I'd like to see what you think about that question. I'm going to talk about that, and in fact, a lot of the content in the next few minutes is dedicated to one answer to this question. Okay, now there are a lot of good answers, and we'll see those coming in. Research is good. Understanding finding good prices. Okay, those kind of things. But this is the difference that I want to emphasize today for you, and that is hidden potential. Okay, if you think about a real estate investor, for example, a lot of times the difference between a great real estate investor and just a mediocre investor is that they have identified some hidden potential in that property, and therefore they're willing to pay a little bit more for a property that perhaps doesn't look very attractive to the competitors, and but because they see the potential, they get a good deal. And let me tell you that is for a website investor, one of the key things is being able to identify that hidden potential. And that's why in this webinar we're going to spend a lot of time going through some possible ideas for quick improvements. So you can identify website opportunities and see where those things can be improved to your advantage over other people trying to buy that website, and also after you buy it, increasing the profits very quickly. Alright? So this is going to be fun. So we're going to go through this really quickly because we have a lot of ideas to cover for you. Now we'll first look at advertising opportunities. Many of the websites that we buy are content-based. People come to read what's on the website, and then they view an ad or click on an ad, and we get paid for it. So when you see a site that is using low-paying ad networks instead of higher-paying ones, like AdSense, for example, is a higher-paying one. If you see only lower-paying ones, in the back of your mind you can say, hey, this might be an improvement opportunity for me. Another one is bad placement of ads on the pages. We'll look at that in just a moment. Bad sizing of ads on the pages. Take a look at this diagram. This is a typical kind of a blog with the logo, and then a menu at the top, and then article content, and then a sidebar over on the right. Now these blue ad units are placed in pretty good locations. If these ad units had been completely over on the right in the sidebar, or if there had been a blue ad unit up there where it says blog article page 2, then you could say, hey, this website owner has not optimized the placements of these ads. And let me tell you, simply moving the ads out of the sidebar and putting them in the content where the content wraps around it, particularly that very top ad, can improve the ad performance by as much as 300, 400, 500% even. Those seem like huge numbers, and they are, but that's just the reality of it. Eyes move from left to right through the content, and your eyes are moving left to right, and then right when you get to the end of the line, there are ad units that your eyes are taking in. Okay, and so as you go down through this article, people's eyes are moving towards the ads at each turn, and then the one at the bottom also is a pretty high producing placement. So placement of ad units, sizing of ad units is really important, and learning where those are can clue you into opportunities for buying websites. It's just really simple. 5-10 minute change can increase the production of the website dramatically. Also, ineffective colors or borders on ads can make a really huge difference. We're talking about large percentage differences. You might have a click-through of only 1.5% and be able to get it up to 2.5%, which is significant increase in revenue just from a very, very small change like that. Not taking advantage of media ads, for example, if you're displaying text-only ads, or not making ad space available to private bidders, only working on contextual ad systems. All those kind of things can really boost the performance of a content-based site quickly. All right, not taking advantage of responsive ad units for devices. This means right now there are ads set up by many ad network providers that will compensate for the device you're on. So an iPhone, if it doesn't fit the ad, if you have a responsive ad unit, will resize the ad so that it's appropriate for the iPhone user. The same for a tablet user, full-size computer user, and so on. That's a great opportunity if you find a website that's not doing that already. Underutilization of digital products or affiliate sales. So if you see sites that have ads on them, but they're not selling affiliate products, then they're missing out, because affiliate products typically have very little cost, and so all of the profits can go to the website owner, and they have no cost because they're digital products, and once they're created they can just be distributed. Okay, failure to capture traffic as prospects. If you don't see any squeeze pages, then that's a big opportunity often. Overuse of ad space on web real estate is also a big problem. People on a website, you have two goals for the visitors. The first goal is that they give you money by taking some action that delivers revenue to your pocket. That would be clicking on an ad, viewing on an ad, entering their email, or so on. The second possibility is that they stay on the site. So either you want them doing something that earns you money, or you want them staying on the website. One of two things: putting way too many distractions and links and pictures and options on a website, that distracts your customer, and often they won't take any action. They won't stay, and they won't do anything that earns you money. So those are your two objectives with a typical website. Okay, SEO opportunities. We could have a whole long, lengthy course about changes that you could do for SEO to quickly improve traffic and conversions, but we'll just go through some of the top ones. And the first one is bad title tags. If you're evaluating an opportunity and you see that the titles of the pages don't have good keywords and don't have words or phrases that would typically be searched for in a search engine, then that's an excellent opportunity for you. Okay, missing meta descriptions. If they don't have these descriptions, then the click-through rate, even though they might appear high on a search engine page, they might not be clicked on very often because the meta descriptions are weak or unappealing to people who are looking at them. Limited internal linking, not having a very low number of incoming backlinks from other authority websites. Those kind of things make a big difference. Unmanaged 404 errors, where there's pages that have been deleted in the past and traffic still coming to a page that no longer exists. Having duplicate content within the pages of your site, or actually duplicated between your site and other external sites. Or light content, meaning that there's not much text on the pages. Like a lot of e-commerce sites sometimes have this failing. They have just a picture and a price and not much else. No keyword strategy is a big problem. If you see, the keywords are just kind of willy-nilly, or there's no evidence that people have chosen content with keywords in mind. No social network promotion, no use of schema markup. These are all kinds of SEO opportunities for you. If you see websites that otherwise look appealing to you, but they have these problems, that means they're good opportunities perhaps. All right? E-commerce. In the realm of e-commerce sites that are selling physical products typically, whether it's your products or somebody else's products, look at these things. If you see a site with product descriptions that seem to be copied from the manufacturer site, then that tells you immediately that they're using the same descriptions that probably all the other e-commerce providers are using. They're duplicate content in Google's eyes. So that's a quick hit improvement to change product descriptions. Not necessarily easy if there's thousands of products, but definitely an opportunity for you. Product images copied from the manufacturer site, same thing. Google recognizes duplicate images. If you can have unique images for e-commerce products, you're a leg up above the competition. Limited use of sales discounts and coupons. E-commerce site owners they need to be skilled in marketing. If they're not using typical business marketing techniques like having frequent sales, having ways for customers to be attracted to the pricing of specific products, then they're completely missing out. Also, unappealing site design. You might have a great e-commerce site with good that is in good shape otherwise, but the site design is weak. You know what? Changing a site design can often be a pretty easy thing to do and have big results. Bad user experience, that's things like navigation or weak customer service, or not being able to find a help desk or contact information, weak guarantee policies, weak customer support, maybe a little harder to fix, but also very important for e-commerce sites. No free shipping. Guess what? Everybody offers free shipping these days. If you're not, that's a big, but potentially that can increase your sales conversion rate dramatically just by making that change. Weak product selection. In other words, you're not focusing on your best sellers. You're not studying the profitability of your different products to see which ones you should be featuring high on the page, on the home page, and on other category pages. If there's e-commerce sites with no advertising or very ineffective advertising, but they're still doing okay, hey, you can add advertising and expect that will improve profits really quickly and to high levels. Also, searchability on e-commerce sites, navigation with the menu structure and so on is pretty important. All right, lots of opportunities there. Also, affiliate sites. Affiliate sites are where we're selling other people's products and we're getting commission on those sales. The very first thing we look at on affiliate sites is low converting sales copy. So we have 100 visitors coming to our site, but let's say only 1% are clicking through and buying a product. Well, we need to look at the sales copy. Sales copy is really important, and getting those 100 visitors might have been pretty hard, but improving the sales copy may be not so hard. Okay, so that's a big opportunity for you. Visually unappealing sites, poor product selection. In other words, affiliate sites have a choice of which products they sell, and swapping out a stronger product for a weaker one is a very quick way to improve income and profitability. Leaks in sales funnels. A sales funnel is simply this. The sales funnel is a series of offers that we're making to our customer. Okay, if we make one offer and then we make no other offers, whether they buy or don't buy, then that means that's a big leak, because we have an opportunity to make a second offer, we're not doing it. That's what a leak in a sales funnel is. So let's say we have a customer that buys something and then we don't offer them an upsell, that's a leak. Let's say we have a customer that decides not to buy something, but we don't offer them something free, we don't find a way to capture them, that's another leak. There are various leaks in sales funnels, and those leaks might account for 5% in loss of sales. They might be more like 20 or 35 or 40%. So plugging some leaks in sales funnels is a really key activity, and it represents a big opportunity for you if you're buying an affiliate website. Any affiliate's not taking advantage of email lists because they write underperforming emails, or because they're not focused on buyers versus just leads and prospects. Those are things that can make you more money very quickly in an acquisition of an affiliate site. Now, lead generation sites, let me just tell you a little bit about what a lead generation site is. When you have an ad, you get paid for displaying the ad or someone clicking on the ad, and you get paid a little bit of money. Lead generation sites are kind of the same thing. We're also capturing contact information, or we're capturing customer information, but for a lead site, we're qualifying that information. In other words, we're capturing more specific kinds of customers. For example, home improvement companies, window companies like Andersen here with this little logo, are looking for customers who are interested in buying windows. So if we can find customers who we know are specifically interested in buying windows and capture information about them, their address, phone number, name, etc., then companies like Andersen are willing to pay us a lot more than a typical company might be willing to pay for a random person who just clicks on an ad, because that random person is less qualified. So lead companies specialize in collecting that kind of information and passing it along to a high bidder. I evaluated a magic website once that basically collected information, contact info from people who wanted a magic show in their homes for birthday parties or in their office for corporate events. And then there was a magic show broker who paid a pretty good amount for every address and phone number of someone who in that category who wanted that. So that's an example of lead company, and there are lots and lots of different kinds of leads and companies who buy leads. And so leads have good prices. I also evaluated a site that was collecting health information about children who had a certain medical condition. And there was a lawyer who was paying over $100 per address, per valid contact of a family in that situation, because the lawyer knew that a certain percentage of those contacts would turn into malpractice lawsuits for him, and he could make hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on those. So he was willing to pay a whole lot for that lead. Okay, so if we're looking at leads, then here are the kinds of opportunities that say, hey, maybe I can really make something of this lead site. One is if there's only a single lead buyer, then there's no competition. So chances are that you're not getting as much for each lead that you sell. Untested prices for leads. Look, if you change the prices, you'll be surprised. Either changing them in an upward direction or a downward direction could potentially increase the sales. And if you see evidence that doesn't look like they've actually tested anything but one price, then you're going to want to do that. Weak advertising strategy is another one. For lead generations, advertising is pretty important. Unexplored sources for leads. So let's say you have buyers, good buyers for leads, but the website owner hasn't really gone out and looked for multiple sources for the leads. And also, if they found leads but aren't qualifying them well, it's quite likely that you can command a higher price by just asking the customers more questions or finding ways to capture more specific information about their needs to make sure that they're the most qualified buyers. Okay, there's some lead ideas. There are many others. Service sites. Okay, a service site is a site that offers some kind of a service. It might be creation of a logo, designing something, it might be consulting, it might be just ushering customers off to some kind of an offline service like carpet cleaning or window washing or what have you. Okay, the first thing I look at in service sites is, are the prices exceptionally low or exceptionally high in my opinion? And if so, there probably is an opportunity to change the prices. If there's no evidence that they've actually tested different prices, then that's an opportunity for me too that makes me think, oh, there's some value here. If there are no pricing tiers, in other words, if I just have a product and one price, but I don't have like a higher price version of that product, I don't have the gold, silver, bronze offers, then I know that there's money to be made there, because people like choices, and some people like, the plain vanilla, and some people like the most fancy kind, and they're willing to pay for it. I once bought a website that was selling a particular service for $10. I immediately, day one, raised the price to $40. Now, I didn't get a 400% increase in sales, but I did get like a 250% increase in sales, all right? Just by making that one change. I sold the website some months later. The guy who bought it from me immediately instituted a 3-tier pricing strategy. He had like a $350 item, a $200, and like an $80. And he doubled at least what I was doing. So pricing tiers and pricing strategies can make a big difference. And the great thing is, changing the prices only takes a few moments. I mean, literally, sometimes it's a matter of just typing a 1 in front of 99, and and you can make big strides with that. All right. Lack of automation for service sites, it can be a big opportunity for you. So automating something, it might not be cheap or easy, but it can be a big opportunity nevertheless. High-priced service providers. Most service requires somebody to actually do the service. If you're hiring people who are high-priced, they live in Western countries, they have locked into high rates or whatever, then you can often find lower-priced service providers and dramatically increase your profits pretty quickly, and oftentimes with no change in quality. If you have low converting sales copy, sales copy is really important for service sites. People want to read and really understand what service they're going to be getting. They also want to ask pre-sales questions. So if you're not providing a good way to answer their questions before they buy into the service, you're probably missing out on a lot of customers. If there's no advertising for services, if it's just historically been word of mouth. You can explode the amount of sales you can do by just doing that. If there are no testimonials, look, for services, people want one thing. They want to get what they pay for. And testimonials gives them the faith and trust that you can give that to them. All right, so we've gone through a ton of these potential ideas for finding hidden gems in website investing, and those things are worth a lot. Now, this is future potential we've been talking about. And how much is future potential actually worth? Well, guess what? It's really, really important to estimate the worth of each improvement that you have in mind. And you need to do best and worst case scenarios, okay? You need to be realistic about what the potential risks and gains might be. So for example, if you say, well, I think there's an incredible opportunity here to change the prices. Well, guess what? You might be wrong, and you might actually reduce revenue and profitability, and you might increase it. So it's really good to put two numbers on each idea that you have. And these are guesses, right? Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. That's why we test. However, you can probably put some reasonable guesses together, and the important thing is to put numbers beside them so you can kind of stack them all up against each other, and then use that as input into your decision on how much you're willing to pay for a website. Okay, now we're going to quickly get into the buying process overview, and I don't want to keep you here all night, so we'll go through this fairly quickly. But again, this is like any other major purchases. The very first step is finding website opportunities. Where do you buy them? And for websites, there are kind of three major categories. Those are marketplaces. These are websites that specialize in selling other websites. The biggest of those is Flippa. Flippa has about $500,000 in website sales per week. It fluctuates wildly, but that's kind of an average number. And in recent memory, I remember they said they had about 2,200 people online buying websites at one time. Flippa is not the only marketplace. There are a number of other marketplaces, although they're the kind of the leading marketplace. Brokerages, just as there are business brokers for traditional businesses, they're the same for website businesses, people who specialize in selling websites. There are private sales. In other words, I have bought websites from private website owners. And there's a process for contacting them and kind of making your intentions known and buying from them. So that's kind of the way that we find websites to buy. All right. The key thing in any kind of a purchase, any kind of investment, is the valuation. What do you look at? And here are 14 things that I typically look at whenever I'm buying a website. Okay, now I just want to put this question out to those of you on the call and ask you, of these 14 things, which two things do you think are most important? All right, just key in your answers, and we'll look at those as we go along. Now, of course, all of these things are important, or I wouldn't have them here at all. And of course, you spent a lot of time talking about future potential, so you know that I do consider that to be really important. But actually, there's two other items on this list that are even more important. Okay? If you guess revenue, that's number one in importance. When you talk about Microsoft being an $80 billion company or $100 billion or whatever it is, you're actually talking about their gross revenues, their gross sales, right? Now that doesn't tell you they make $100 billion a year. It just tells you the rough size of their company. It's the same way with websites and other businesses. We need to know how much sales they're generating. That tells us the volume of traffic that's going through their business in terms of turnover, and it's critically important. It's not everything. Obviously, you want to know expenses as well, because it could be that they're making zero in net income. The second one is traffic, because traffic represents customers. If there's a customer flow, then you've got a real business. If there's revenue, you've got a real business. Now, one thing I teach in my course is looking for sort of situations where revenue is high but traffic is low. That can be an opportunity for you, because that means increasing traffic could have a dramatic bottom line effect. Or conversely, traffic is really high but revenue is low. That means that finding ways to convert that traffic into sales could have a dramatic effect. And once again, all these other things are important too, and we look at those in detail, how you evaluate each of these kinds of things. but these are really two crucial ones. All right. Then there's the buy process. After you've found something you want to investigate, you've evaluated, it looks like a good deal. This is the step where you decide how much you want to pay and how much something is worth. And typically, I get the question all the time, how do you decide how much a website is worth? Well, websites very often are valued in terms of multiples of monthly income. Okay, so if a website's earning $100 a month and you decided you wanted to pay 24 times its earnings, and by earnings I mean net income, then you might be willing to pay $2,400 for that website that's making $100 a month. Now, I personally really try to find websites that sell for somewhere between like 8 and 14 months of earning, and I'm willing to pay more or less depending on a whole lot of things, and evaluation, future potential, not the least of those. And some people say, well, you're crazy, there aren't very many good websites, if any, out there that you can buy for a multiple of 6 times earnings or 8 times earnings and things like that. And you know what? It's like anything else. There might not be very many, but there are certainly some, and I try to go for those. Now, many other investors are willing to pay much higher multiples, 18 months, 24 months, even 36 months of earnings. And there are some more sophisticated processes for determining the value of a website, and I talk about those more in my course, but a lot of times people really want to see how fast the payback can be on their initial investment. How soon will they get their money back in terms of net incomes, okay, over months. So that's something we get into more later. The auction process and getting a good price. Okay, once you've decided how much you want to pay, then what's the strategy for actually bidding in a way that can result in winning the auction? Okay, the transfer after the thing. After you've agreed on a price with the buyer and the seller, how do you then change everything from the seller's name to the buyer's name? And that is a process that starts with escrow. So money moves from a buyer to an escrow company, escrow.com I've got a picture of here, and then once the money is secured, then the website itself moves, all the files, domains, accounts, and so on associated with the website, and then there's an inspection period, and if all is kosher, then the assets officially change hands. So that's the escrow process. There's more detail to that that I covered in the course, but that's kind of how that works. Improvement. After the website is yours, the first thing you're going to want to do is implement the quick hits that we talked about above, the things that you saw that were weaknesses in the current website that could potentially produce a lot more income. And so you're going to make those changes as quickly as you can, and besides those, you're going to want to look at adding additional income streams. It's always good to diversify earnings and find other layers of earnings that you can add on, okay? And then look at the existing income streams and try to improve those. Traffic improvement is important as well, but it's a longer term strategy. All right, and then once you made those improvements, you're in the operating mode, all right? And there are some cases where you're going to want to sell. Maybe the thing is a different kind of work than you wanted to do. Maybe it's very customer intensive work, or there's technical aspects that you didn't anticipate that you're not interested in performing. So sometimes you're going to sell. Okay, that's just part of the ebb and flow, and website investors do that. They just don't try to buy and sell immediately and keep repeating that process unless they're just really interested in being a flipper. So this is what we've learned. We've talked about how returns on website investments are excellent, providing you choose the right websites. We've talked about how fast and how reliable it actually is to make money in this game of website investing. We compared the risks of buying a website to other, possible options of buying a traditional business, investing in stocks, building a site from scratch, and we compared it to using other internet marketing systems. And guess what? Website investing compares very favorable when you look at it that way. We looked at the difference between investors and flippers, and we went through a whole bunch of very specific ideas on how to improve websites to increase their value quickly. And then we went through the high-level steps that you need to buy your first website. And I gave you just some brief ideas about how that process works to find and buy websites. Okay, so if you are intrigued at this point, you obviously have some choices. You now know enough to understand that this could be the thing that you've been looking for, the open door, if you will. The open door meaning the open door for you to get started in an online business, and a way to get started really quickly. You don't have to know nearly as much if you buy a business that's already working and learn from something that's working rather than learn from something that doesn't even exist, much less is not working. Now, the issue here is that of accountability. Without some process to help you stick with it, you're probably not going to do anything. Without detailed guidance, without a process to follow, like step 1, step 2, step 3, without answers to other specific questions that come up when you see your first website that you're evaluating and there's just something that you don't understand or you wish you had somebody to help you with, then all of these things mean that unfortunately it's just part of human nature. It's no failing of yours specifically. It's all of our problem that you almost assuredly aren't going to do anything with the information that I've just given you, unfortunately. All right. However, that's not what I want for you, because you've already invested some time tonight with me, and I want you to take action like I did. Okay, I want you to be able to get started quickly and not forever being in this situation where you don't know what to do. You've got way too many options. You're trying to work on multiple options at the same time. Okay, I would like to help you acquire your very own piece of the web, meaning I would like to help you buy a website, and not just do it, but actually do it with confidence and be able to do it quickly and easily. And I like to limit your risk. Okay, and for all, and this is sincere. Look, you guys don't know me, so all you know is just kind of what you've heard. All right. But I want to see. I run into so many people at conferences who are looking for kind of the way in. How do they get started? And they're so unsure, and some of them have actually tried something for 6 months or 12 months or even 18 months, and it's just not working out very well. They've tried to implement some system, and it's just not working out. And I feel for those people, and that's why I am pleased and have no apprehension about introducing you to this course on the web. And in this course, I tell you exactly how to do all of those things, and I help you overcome all of those problems. All right? So stick with me now. You've been listening to some good content all along, and I assure you, even as you listen to the description of the modules in this course, you'll learn more about website investing, because you'll get an idea of some of what website investing includes. Okay, so in the very first module we talk about finding opportunities. Okay, how do you sift through the various opportunities that you'll see to find the right ones? And I give you specific lists of marketplaces and brokerage websites that I personally use to find websites in this course. And I teach you how to set up automated searches. So just like if you've bought a house recently, a lot of the websites will say they'll send you all the new listings for 2-bedroom houses or 3-bedroom houses right to your email inbox. And we can do the same thing with website investing. You can get those opportunities right to your email inbox. And you'll also understand why you really need to set some goals before you buy, and this makes the difference between amateurs and pros, is setting those goals, and a lot more in this first module. Okay, in the second module, I'm going to go through how websites make their money. You got a little bit of a flavor of that as I talked about quick hit improvement ideas, because I went through the different kinds of websites. But here you're going to understand more clearly the different revenue sources, the differences between leads, services, advertising, affiliate, product sites, e-commerce sites, and other kinds of sites. And you're going to learn how websites use these business models in an optimized way. So not just what the business model is, but how the website owners actually strategically try to position their products and sell using their particular model. And then the do's and don'ts in each of those models. Okay, and more than that, I'm trying to summarize this as quickly as I can. Okay, in the next module, we're going to talk about evaluating websites. How do you size up the opportunity to know what the value and potential of the websites are? And we're going to go through those 14 items that you saw on a previous slide in a lot more detail. And of course, traffic and revenue, as I said, are critically important, so we're going to spend even more time on those. And then we're going to cover key questions that you always need to ask the seller with respect to these 14 areas, okay, and even more than what I've got listed here. Then the question that everybody has: how much should I pay, and how do I determine that? So we're going to learn how to decide that, and how to increase your chances of winning the auction. Okay, so we'll look at different pricing and valuation principles, and then my own personal strategy of being the very best buyer. In a transaction between a seller and a buyer, sellers like to sell to people that they like, and so you want to be the very best buyer, and I explain how you can be the best buyer in this course. Also, bidding strategies. After you decide how much you want to pay, what's the right strategy for bidding? When do you bid? How often do you bid? How much? Those kinds of things. Module 5, the inspection and site transfer. This is the escrow inspection period that I'm talking about. You're going to learn how to make certain that you got what you paid for, and just how to make the transition, the handoff between the seller and the buyer, as smooth as possible. We'll go through the escrow process in more detail. Talk about how to transfer the website from his name to your name, and what you should be looking for during the inspection period, that last chance that you get before you say, yeah, I've got everything that I expected to get. All right? And then after you own it, what do you do? And here's where we're going to really give you a specific list, a guide to the things that you should be prioritizing once you take ownership of the website. Of course, you're going to do the quick profit improvement, but I'm also going to give you some guidance on how to run your business in a good way, so that you're not drunk and disorderly and you don't just let the thing languish out there. Just some really easy things. I'm not saying that they're a lot of work, but they need to be set up at the beginning so that you can have control over your website business and get the most profitability possible out of it. All right, and I'm also going to talk about how to sell. I've done a lot of selling. Okay, so we're going to discuss to flip or not to flip. Okay, and then how you can create a compelling sales page. So the kinds of things, website investors, people who are buying websites from you, are a little bit the same and a little bit different than people who are buying, for example, an affiliate product or another kind of website-based product. Okay, and I have quite a bit of experience in crafting these sales pages. I'm going to tell you exactly what I put into those sales pages. All right, and then how to manage the auction so that you get what you want, the best possible price for that. All right, so that's about selling, and then frankly there's a lot more in this course. For example, what do you do about international domains that are located in a different country than you are? Do you need a business, and what some of the advantages to having a business might be in situations where maybe you don't need a business at all? As well as looking over my shoulder when I evaluate specific live opportunities, website opportunities. I'll look at 5 or 6 of them online. We look into the transaction detail that they provide us, the revenue proofs, the traffic proofs, and just commentary on those kinds of questions that you'll want to ask when you look at opportunities. So those are the key things in the course. Here's a screenshot of what the inside of the course look like. As you see, it's very consumable material. It's laid out in a step-by-step fashion so that it's very clear what you need to do first, what you need to do second. It gives you a little bit of accountability, a little bit of encouragement as you go along, reminders of why you got into this to begin with, and just what you need to do to stay on track to actually make it work for you. And if you go through this, that's the whole design. We want it to work out for you. We want this to be the thing that really got you started, that allowed yourself to call yourself a website investor and be part of this website investing community. Okay, and that's not only a new identity, it's a new productive career, new income stream, a new learning opportunity. Whatever your goals are, we want to help you achieve those goals with this product. So I understand that if you are seriously considering getting into website investing, that this may be, the way for you, that you're thinking in the back of your mind, this could be for you. And I'm really confident that this course will do it for you. I have no apprehension about that, that if you decide you want to get into website investing, that this will be the thing that helps you do that. However, if you're ever dissatisfied in any way, that's the last thing I would want to do, is to take money from someone who feels like they didn't get what they paid for. Okay, so you don't know me, so you can't just accept my words on this. So the way I'm going to prove that to you is by, offering you a money back, no risk guarantee. So if you're not happy, the risk is mine. You just send me an email, open the ticket, ask for a refund. You don't have to explain anything, and I'll make sure that you get your money back. All right? Because I don't want to take your money if it's not helping you out. That's not the point of this. Now, I do believe it will help you out, but we'll just guarantee that with this slide right here. Okay, so what's the investment? It's $497. Okay? Now, you don't see a link on the screen, and the reason is because you've taken the time, you've invested the time to get to this point in this webinar. I'm going to offer you a price, an investment level of $297 at this link to avail yourself of this course and this material. Okay, but in order to get it, you need to jot down this website investors.com/webinar offer. Jot that down somewhere and use this link, okay, to get to that, because this link isn't published elsewhere on the net. It's only published within this webinar. So for that price, not only do you get the course with all of those modules that I mentioned before, but there's a couple of really key bonuses that come along with this course. And the first one is another webinar, actually, an interview with a long-time website investor, so someone who's an expert in website investing, been doing it for a long time, and we'll together pick his brains on how he chooses websites to buy, how he exploits them for profits. And so you'll have access to him and me on this webinar and be able to ask all the questions you like. Now, the second bonus is a technical training library. Now understand this. The passive income investor doesn't want to do tech work. That's why he's a passive investor. So I have no intention of wanting to train you to be a techie person, all right? You might like techie. If you do, that's fine, but that's not the point of this technical training library. What it is a fallback for you, that in case you run into some technical problem or some need to know something in the technical realm, for example, about domains or cPanel management, or about WordPress, because a high percentage of the sites that you might buy are probably going to be run on WordPress. If you need to know some of these things, just be aware these 60 videos, this is a very large library of videos, are available for you, so you can learn about Aweber and GetResponse lists, which are tools to help you email to your customers, or how to do quick edits to a sales page or a download page with HTML, or graphics. There are a lot of graphics on most websites, and from time to time maybe you need to resize an image or upload an image or something like that, and you might need to know how to move files from your computer to the web server. Okay, so those things are all available for you in this technical bonus. All right, and the third one is this is intended for after you've gotten into the material a little bit and you've jotted down some specific questions about your specific situation or other things that that weren't clear to you in the course. So this is a webinar just for you to have the time to address very specific questions to me, okay? And it'll be timed appropriately so that you'll have had some time to get into it and actually start to think about things when it is scheduled. You'll also, if there are actually website opportunities that you begun to evaluate and there's time on this call, you can bring those up and ask your questions about those as well. So you get these 3 bonuses in addition to everything else in the course that I mentioned above for this special investment of $297 at website-investors.com/webinar offer. So go there right now and take a look at that. Click on that link, and after you pay, you'll have access. You'll get a user ID and password in your email, and you'll be able to log into the course. Okay, you have nothing to lose here. As I explained earlier, there's a 30-day, no explanation necessary, money-back guarantee. So go there and sign up now. Now let me just address a couple of questions that many people ask when they're considering getting into website investing. And the first one is, hey, do I need thousands of dollars to buy a website? Well, the good news is that website investing is a scalable thing. As I explained earlier, most websites are kind of valued and priced based on a multiple of net income. So if a website nets $50 a month and you can get it for 10 times earnings, then it might be a $500 buy. Okay. Now, if you've also seen opportunities there to increase that 50 to 75 or 100, then good for you. You can get your money back in only 5 months instead of the 10 months that you paid for it. But the point is that you can buy some very low-cost websites for not a lot of money, and then of course the higher price websites or the higher income websites are going to cost more. As you can imagine, you're not going to be able to buy a website that earns $1,000 every month for $2,000 or $3,000. People would be crazy to sell it to you for that amount. So they're going to want $6,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 or $12,000 or $14,000 for a website of that value. But the point is, it's scalable. There are low-priced websites and higher-priced websites based on the income stream that they provide to the buyer. So another question is, can anybody do this? Can someone who's completely new to operating websites, maybe doesn't have any technical skills or any exposure to the internet, hasn't used websites much themselves to buy things, can someone completely new get in and do this? And the answer to that is yes, but obviously you're going to want to spend more time. If you don't have a lot of exposure to websites and how they make their money, and you don't know how to do marketing on websites, then you're going to want to go through the material more carefully and slowly than someone who's already kind of mastered certain areas of the material. But it is certainly possible. In fact, it's actually one of the best ways to learn about the website business is to get a hold of something that's already working and learn from that by tweaking an already working system, as opposed to trying to learn from just scratch, learn from nothing, where you're just building things, plodding along, putting one piece together on top of another piece, one building block on another building block, and trying to learn like that. Obviously you can learn like that, but that's really the hard way. It's much easier to learn by something that's actually working. And I've proven this over and over and over again. Okay, so hopefully that addresses some of those questions that I see pretty frequently. Here's a guy, John Schmidler. John it came to me, and I began coaching him in the process of website investing. Okay, and it worked out pretty well for John. He has a full-time job. He wasn't doing this to get out of his job, at least initially, and he travels a lot. So he spent some of his time learning this website investing principles, researching website opportunities to buy, and ultimately he bought a website that he got his money back in 10 months and is generating $1,500 to $2,000 a month in net profit. And so for John, it worked out really well. He says, I never realized how exciting and enjoyable operating an online business can be. I continue to learn new ways to improve each month and apply them to all the areas of my business life. Plus, this business makes a difference in the lives of thousands of people each month by providing key information for users to make informed health decisions, making a difference, and making a profit. Now that's gratifying, and that's just the kind of guy that John is. He's, he likes making money, but he's about a lot more than that. So he found a website that could help him achieve both those purposes. Now I have this is a screenshot from Flippa, and I have a lot of feedback on Flippa. You'll be able to look that up if you're so inclined. I've done a lot of transactions there. You can see they total about 170K myself, And I include this slide because I just want you to know that I'm very relationship conscious, and that's all the relationships: my customers, people that I buy websites from, sell websites to, and interact with, customers who interact with my websites. That's a high priority of mine, and of course that will be that's an incredibly high priority for those of you who choose to become website investors yourself and participate in the Own the Web course. Alright, so just a quick review of what you're going to get in this course. Own the Web, it's 32 core videos plus some supplemental videos. There are probably 40 or so in total. There are transcripts for those of you who don't like to watch videos and would rather just scan down through the text. Those are available for those who just want to listen. There's MP3 files of the videos. And then under each video there are on-screen notes with a little index that says where in the video we talk about that particular topic, so that you can scroll forward whenever you need to. And we've made this to be as usable and user-friendly as possible. It's laid out in a step-by-step process, so you can consume the content at your own pace and in your own order, if you like, depending on what your knowledge level is and what your interest in particular topics is. And then case studies where we actually look at real opportunities, and we study the traffic and revenue numbers, as I mentioned earlier. So take a look at this link, website-investors.com/webinar offer. And again, the first bonus, the Website Investors Advanced Institute, where we'll interview an experienced guest investor, and you'll have access to both him and myself to ask questions that you might have about the whole process. The technical library of 60 different training videos and detailed guidance for each of kind of the important things that a website investor might encounter in buying a website. Now, many of those things are already done for you if you already buy a working website, and you won't have to do them yourself, but in case you ever need this information, there's a lot of it available here in this training library of videos. And then the Jumpstart webinar, where we're set aside purely to answer your questions about anything related to the website investing process. And if you have opportunities that you've identified that you want to ask questions about this opportunity, say the website's in this kind of a niche and it's making this kind of earnings, and the seller is wanting this amount, and how does that sound to you? We'll talk about those things, give you a question to air those kinds of comments and questions. Here's another example. Ian McLaren, he was a buyer actually of my news course. I have a lot of experience in Google News, and Ian bought my news course, how to get into Google News and get a website syndicated as a news source for Google News. So he bought that, and then he's a two-time buyer because he's also going through Own the Web. He hasn't yet bought his first website, but he's really interested in website investing as well as being in the news business, and he's a great guy. I've supported him in both of these journeys, and I'm quite confident he's going to do really well with it. All right, so to get this offer, $297 investment in websiteinvesting.com and /webinar. Thank you for sticking with me through this whole process. I'm very confident in your ability to become a website investor. The process is not so difficult. As we said, it's very comparable to other buying opportunities you've had in the past, whether you've picked out an expensive piece of clothing, a mobile phone, you've bought real estate, a house, you've bought financial investments, what have you. It's not so different from all of those in terms of the process. And I give you very specific guidance on how to do this, how to be successful. I've had challenges. Some of the very first websites that I purchased didn't go very well. I had some that were utter flops. I had many others that really took off and are supporting me very well at this moment. So I'll give you the advantage of not having to make those mistakes that I made when I chose some of those websites. I didn't exactly know what to evaluate. I didn't know some of the questions to be asking. I never took a course on website investing. In fact, I'm not even certain that any other courses besides this one even exist on the topic of website investing, which is why I wrote my book. And while I'm on the topic of the book, it's kind of proof of concept that passive income website investing works, because I had time to just run off and write a book and create a course. And my website investments just continued to operate, continued to deliver that passive income while I spent my time doing something that I enjoyed and wanted to do. I really enjoyed putting down all of my knowledge about website investing in the book and in this course. And so that's what I want you to do too. I want you to have a comfortable income level, which you can achieve with website investing, and have the flexibility to add on to that other kinds of activities that you would like to do with your life or in your career. And in my case, I do like to teach. I enjoy explaining things to students and helping them be successful in different areas to meet their goals. So this was great for me to have the time to do that. I'm actually teaching Vacation Bible School this summer. I signed up, to do that for a week out of the summer. And in my corporate jobs, I could never do that because I could never, I didn't want to justify a week of vacation to do VBS, and I couldn't just go off without pay. But in this business, I've got income that continues to come along, even when I'm on mission trips or doing projects like that, or doing other things like writing a book or creating a course. So the proof is in the pudding. It works. You get those income streams going, then it frees up your time to do the things that you want to do, whether they are career-oriented or family-oriented or what have you. So wish you the best of luck in this pursuit. And it doesn't have to be pure luck. It can be a steady, disciplined approach to getting into website investing, to getting off the dime and using this as your entree into the world of online income. It's really a good one. Not many people are talking about it, which is good for you. So get in now. Get in at this incredibly reasonable price. I can tell you that this amount of money will save you lots and lots of money in the future. Learning just a few key concepts about website investing can protect your future investments, can make any website you buy a lot more profitable, a lot more quickly than it otherwise would have been, and it'll just give you confidence and reduce your apprehension and that of your spouse by educating yourself on website investing. And I encourage you to do this also as an identity. It's good to have this kind of label and be able to answer people and say, when they ask you, so what do you do, to just tell them that I'm a website investor. I buy websites, and whether you've bought one or 2 or 10 or whatever, you can say, this is what I do for a living. I buy websites for passive income profits, and I enjoy the hunt. I enjoy finding them, evaluating them, fixing them up to do what I want, and I really enjoy having the income come in because it provides flexibility to do other things that I enjoy doing. So there's kind of an identity that goes along with this website investor, and it's a pretty unique identity at this point. There are people who are doing it, but really very few compared to the amount of opportunities that are available out there. So thanks for listening. I hope you got some great ideas for either your existing websites or your entree into website investing as a hobby or as a career or just as an investment path. Take action now. That's how you'll benefit from all of this. You won't benefit just from having listened and picking up some nuggets unless you're incredibly disciplined about that. You'll benefit by taking action, buying in, going through the course, and becoming a real live website investor. I hope you'll join me, and if so, then you'll hear from me soon.